Hey YouTube world, we are back with another luxury alternative unboxing. We don't just have one bag, we've got two different bags to cover, and I'm actually really excited to showcase this particular brand because they are coming to you from Asia, Hong Kong specifically. And for me, I have built my channel and I've really have focused in on a lot of European brands such as French indie brands, and I have a whole entire compilation of comparing French indie brands. And I feel like I don't cover Asian brands as much and say I have a soft spot for them, if you will, but I am from Asia. So if there is an opportunity for me to highlight an Asian brand, then yeah, I'm gonna do so whenever I can. Now, Rabeanco did kindly send these bags for me to review. I am not sponsored. I am gonna still, as always with any brand, give my brutally honest review, regardless if it's gifted, sponsored, etc., etc. Now, I know Rabeanco is probably doing a marketing campaign, so you may see other YouTubers or other social media platforms that feature Rabeanco's bags, and I highly encourage you to go check them out as well, because I don't talk to every single YouTuber out there and we don't share notes or anything. So listen to my comments as well as listen to their comments and put together your own thought process and opinion, decision-making process, so to speak, and see if this is going to work for your particular lifestyles as well as, handbag requirements. But without further ado, let's get into it. Now, a little bit of history and story about Rabeanco, and if you are not interested in that, I will timestamp down below so that you can skip right over to the unboxing. But the brand itself, Rabeanco, was actually started by a man named Guy Fibiggio, totally butchering that, and he was from Milan, Italy. This was back in the 80s, and he specialized in men's leather goods. The company was then sold to a family from Hong Kong, and it seems like they literally took this business and they appreciated the leather quality, the craftsmanship of this Italian guy, and really expanded this business quite a bit over the decades. Now, back in early 90s, and then by the time it was the 2010s, looks like they were trying to expand to Europe as well as the United States. So they were trying to open stores in the UK, I think Amsterdam, and perhaps a couple plans to open up in the West Coast where there are a lot of Asian population and the demographics in California and also in Vancouver. Now, we know back in the day, brick and mortar is basically the definition of growth and success. However, today, they only have stores in Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Thailand, and China. And I think people in Asia so value the in-person shopping experience a lot more than here in the United States. But you also have to think about how in Asia, everything is a lot more compact. These major cities, there's a lot of people, and it's just much easier. Public transportation is also way better than here in the United States, outside of major cities. It's just easier in Asia for you to just go into a store and pick up what you need and just buy it and bring it home. Whereas in the United States, it's not as easy, right? So of course, with e-commerce being so advanced nowadays, it just makes it so much easier for us in the United States to purchase things online. And how do I know this for sure? Well, I haven't really lived in Asia for like 2 decades, so I don't. But for those of you who live in Europe and Asia, tell me how it is when it comes to your shopping habits, and is what I'm saying true or is it not true? But I also think about my parents over in Asia and just people in general in Europe and Asia, they have tiny little fridges. And for them to come to the United States, they see these massive fridges. It just really tells you hey, it's harder for us to go to grocery stores and we need to stock up on items when we go shopping, grocery shopping, right? Whereas in Asia, you could just literally go downstairs and there's a grocery store or a street vendor or anything. So you don't really need massive fridges in Europe or Asia because it's so convenient to go grocery shopping, right? So again, this shopping experience, not just for groceries, kind of translates to, your clothing, your handbags, etc., etc. Anyway, that is my TED Talk, and there's not a whole lot of information on the website, so I had to go digging and then, of course, put my little commentary on it. But let's get into the unboxing and stop yapping here. The two handbags did come in this box here. Of course, there's a shipping box outside of this. I'll insert a link for the full true unboxing as a YouTube short or a reel if you want to go check that out. But overall, it was a good experience, right? And it does come stuffed and everything. Which bag should I go over first? This bag, no, this bag, no, this bag. Okay, I'm gonna go over this bag because I actually started using this one already and I'm super pumped about it because I've been loving it. The first bag I picked out from Rabeanco is the Saurize. I'm completely butchering that, but it's the soft structured belt tote number 2 in the mini. That is a mouthful. I wish they would just make it simple. Just call it one name, right? And I don't know, just make it very distinctive and easy to kind of pronounce, I would say. And it's just this beautiful little mini tote bag. And just to kind of give you a spin of the entire bag, the silhouette of this bag is very simple and yet very elegant at the same time. As you can see, I have been wearing this bag as a shoulder bag. However, it does come with a crossbody strap, which I have not started using. The bag or the strap itself is adjustable. You do have to commit to wearing it as a crossbody bag, or if you want to just wear it as a shoulder bag. I'll come back and talk about the straps in a moment here, but I want to show you the rest of the bag and the features. You can see this is a very like Birkin or Kelly style kind of buckle where you can cinch it up like this, where it's kind of a neater look, or perhaps you want a more casual look and you can just leave it open. They do have an effect on the bag. If you choose to cinch it up and do up the buckle here, it does cinch the bag a little bit closer or tighter. So for you to access the bag, you do need to stretch it out a little bit, but it only goes so far. Now, I've been wearing it open because I actually enjoy having the full capacity of it being completely wide open, but it's not really completely wide open because you do have a little flap right here with a built-in magnet where you can actually kind of just keep your bag a little bit more secure by having this top flap right there. Now the interior, the fabric is stitched down, which I think is point. You do have a zip compartment right there and then a slip pocket right there. Now personally, I haven't used the zip compartment whatsoever, but I know that if I want to keep something secure, gift cards, I don't know what to put in there. Usually I don't really use the zip compartments. I usually have little pouches within pouches, little bags within bags. And this one is quite spacious. So I don't really need to think about using the zip compartment whatsoever. On the side of the bag, you do have the different tags with some, instructions or disclosures about the leather and care instructions. It does say genuine leather, and it also mentions that with daily use, it is normal occurrence for the natural leather to fade and or crack when rubbed under dry or damp conditions. So basically, don't leave it in front of the heater vents is what it's probably saying. And I don't foresee this leather to be dry and cracked. And if you're worried about it, I would just say use some leather conditioner on it to prevent it from being too dry and start cracking. I don't anticipate seeing that, but I just find it interesting how they put the tags on there. And then you've got the leather tag right here where it just says Rabeanco, but the tag itself is like massive. I don't know, I just found that to be kind of interesting why they have 3 tags just kind of flying around. I feel like that's kind of unnecessary because the bag itself, it did come with a little tag here, so they could have just incorporated it as a little care booklet like most company does instead of having an extra 3, kind of like the tag on the back of your clothing, like you just want to rip it off. One more thing I wanted to add is that this portion, it's just like one piece, which I found also very odd why it's just one piece is suede, whereas this part is not. It just seems a little bit out of place in my opinion. Is it the biggest deal? No, it's not. It's on the interior. Nobody's gonna see it. But when I'm looking at the overall aesthetic of the bag, when it comes to the interior, it's just this one little piece is suede, like raw suede. Looking at the bottom of the bag, you do have 4 little feet and they are in silver hardware, and you can also see this is kind of a texture bottom of the feet as opposed to a smooth, which I don't like that texture, but I do understand why they chose this because it's not gonna show scratches very easily. If it's just a chrome smooth metal, it's gonna show scratches and it's gonna look kind kind of ugly in my opinion, which I completely get why they went with this particular texture. However, it's not my favorite. I feel like it doesn't look as aesthetically pleasing. Taking a look at the turn lock, I'll insert some clips or maybe photos to show you. The top of the turn lock right here, it does have their logo, which is the Rabeanco, upside down. I'm looking at the glazing. The glazing looks fantastic. I'm looking at the stitching. The stitching looks phenomenal. It's done incredibly well. The leather feels phenomenal. It feels very soft. It feels a little bit powdery. Something that actually reminds me of Hermes leather. Obviously, this is not going to be Hermes quality. You know, the pricing is just, it's not the same, right? But it does remind me of that when the texture, the grain pebbled and how it feels. It's very soft. I do enjoy that. And I see that this is incredibly durable. I did start wearing this, like I said, and I did have it kind of not like torrential downpour or anything, but it did get sprinkled with water and it was completely fine. It did not stain whatsoever. Taking a look at the hardware, is it the highest quality? No, it's not, but it's still pretty good for the price that you are paying. And of course, they only offer all of their bags in silver hardware. I wish they would release some gold hardware just because, you know, I like my bags to be gold hardware. They do have some proprietary parts because you can see there is the Rabeanco right here on the hardware. I do wish, so coming back to what I was saying about the straps, I do wish that they don't have two different straps. Like you gotta commit to one or the other. And of course, if you want to change your straps, you're using this leather pull tab. It's not my favorite. To me, I feel like having a lobster claw or a dog tag kind of clasp to change out the different straps will be more durable because it's leather, right? The more you change and open and close this, and right now I'm sure it's like incredibly tight, but the more you like switch the straps out and use this pinhole with leather, it's gonna stretch out and it's just not gonna look great. Moving on to other parts of the hardware, you can see the magnet is a built-in magnet. You know I love built-in magnets. One thing I will nitpick is that when I was using the bag, I felt that this was a little bit odd. Normally, I actually just keep my bag open because I fill it all the way up and it's pretty secure because it is a shoulder bag and I wear it like armpit bag, right? So I don't have to worry about things falling out. And if I'm not using it as an armpit bag and I'm just carrying it for whatever reason, I can close it pretty nicely and easily with the built-in magnets, which is pretty strong. However, I do find this a little bit odd where the magnet is like one piece and then the leather tab is another piece. That didn't really make sense to me. I get why they did that so that they can have a kind of a book closure at the top, but I do get my fingers stuck kind of like in the little tab right there if I'm in a hurry to grab things that are closer to the back of the bag. So I found this to be a little bit inconvenient. Again, like I said, is it the end of the world? No, it's not. I do feel like this contraption right here can definitely be improved on. Overall, I am loving this bag. There are some little things I can nitpick about, but this is giving me the Kelly vibes or the Birkin vibes. It's like Kelly/Birkin, except it's way more functional, way more easy to access. You don't have to play around with the buckles and whatnot unless you keep your Kelly open. But I'm actually loving this quite a bit. I was super excited to start using this bag. I will be doing a follow-up video on these two handbags, so definitely stay tuned for that. But I've been using this, and of course, if you follow me on Instagram, I did feature this bag maybe once, maybe twice already in my outing, going out to dinner, and of course, just going shopping. Fantastic bag. Moving on to the second bag, it's literally hitting all of my East-West bag desires. So when the bag showed up, obviously they had to do this because the straps are a little bit stiffer and the rolled handles are much longer, right? So they had to fold it up. So hence it wasn't straight like this. And I had to put a bunch of stuff in the bag again, which is part of the reason why I didn't start using this bag just yet. So that hanging it off the doorknob to kind of like straighten out the rolled handles, which you can see what I actually put in here. I got sunscreen, the supersized version, and then more sunscreen. Giving you a quick twirl of the bag, you can see it's a very elegant, seamless looking bag. Also very like chic, cool girl, in my opinion. Very similar to this bag, the glazing, the stitching. I don't see any pop stitching out of place whatsoever. And then at the bottom, you can see there are feet, which is the same material with a little textured feet. And actually, I forgot, all of these bags did come with like rubber feet. I already took it off of that bag, and I don't know what happened to these, but there were 5. But in transporting somewhere, I think it fell off. Another accessory that is included with the rolled long handles, whenever you have long handles, they do include these little buttons, like the snap things, so that you can keep the handles kind of like neatly tucked together as opposed to it frailing everywhere. So that's kind of a nice feature. And when you open the bag, you've got these built-in magnets. Again, point, you know I love built-in magnets, so it's easy for you to kind of just snap it closed, and it's easy to open as well. The leather is this kind of like Epsom leather, very textured. You can tell this is very hard wearing, very strong. Sorry for the shadows, but very durable, so you don't have to worry about it getting rained on and then staining. This one I didn't worry about either, but this one even more so. Now, showing you the interior of the bag, you'll see the leather in here is the smooth leather as opposed to the Epsom style leather. And the interior is just one open compartment with one zip pocket. You also get this lobster claw. So this one's very similar to the Louis Vuitton one, which I wish they would have used this for the bag handles, switching out the bag straps as opposed to the little leather tabs. But you do get that included. The lining is nylon, whereas this one is cloth, and it's not stitched down. Is it the biggest deal? Like I said, no, but the little details always count, in my opinion. And you can see, you could just literally put your life in there. If you have seen my Savette bag unboxing and what fits, that one is much smaller than this bag, and you saw how much it fit. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. The East-West bag style is kind of deceiving because you think that you can't fit too much in here, but you can literally fit anything and everything in here and then some. One initial thought I do want to point out is that there is a gaping hole on both sides. So I don't know how you feel about that. If you have something that is a little bit smaller, you do have a chance of that falling out if you somehow like turn your bag upside down. However, most of the time I use little pouches, catch-alls in here, so that's not going to be a problem for me. I don't have too much thoughts on this bag just yet, just because I haven't used it, but do come back for the second part of this review where I tell you about the wear and tear, and of course my more in-depth thoughts of this East-West bag. But I'm pretty pumped to use this one as well. But first impression, very high quality bag made. And if you are interested in what else is available on Rabeanco's website that is interesting to me in terms of their designs and aesthetics, let me know down in the comments down below. Thanks Rabeanco for sending these bags to me to review, and I did hound them. I did ask them, hey, can we get another discount code? Because I know they are doing a 15% off their first purchase, or they're doing a sale off their entire website. So do take advantage of that. Do use my code down below for an extra 5% off. I do want to be fully transparent. Do make sure you look at the return policy. But the last I read is that it is 30-day, no questions asked when it comes to returns. However, returns are on you. So you do have to pay for the shipment back. So just be aware of that when you do make that purchase. And I've said this multiple times, they are a smaller brand. They're not the big conglomerates like Coach or Louis Vuitton, where they can just offer free shipping and free returns to everybody. So I hope you really enjoyed this unboxing and doing a quick review on these two bags. Do come back for a more in-depth review, perhaps doing a what fits in your bag, and go check out their website and see if there's anything that catches your eye. Life is hard. I want to help you save time and money so that you can somehow adult easier and hopefully less than retail. I'll see y'all next time.